So guys, I have a very fun speech. I'm excited to talk to you guys about this. How many of you would say you've got some existing challenges in your agency today? Yeah. How many of you would say people are probably at the top of that list? Everybody laugh, get it out of your system. This is a touchy subject, but we're going to get real today. We're going to have fun because this is reality, right? First of all, Tim did a great job. Everybody enjoy Tim? You're going to see a lot of overlap and some consistency in our messages. Although it's very different than what Tim had to say this morning, we're going to touch on the same things: accountability, leadership, people, process, execution. But we're going to have some fun today, and we're going to talk about people. Last year, I gave a speech about the 10 dysfunctions of an agency. Anybody remember that one? After that speech, guess what everybody came up to me to talk about? People. They're like, that was great. I love everything you said. I want to do it all. But then they put their head on my shoulder and they say, but my people. My people will never do it. Right then I knew we've got to address this because I truly, truly believe that we have the tools, the training, everything necessary for your agencies to succeed. However, like Tim said, when you leave people to their own devices, do you think they're going to just go ahead and do what you think and hope and pray that they're going to do every single day? Probably not. And we've seen this, especially in the training division. When we go into agencies, there's a disconnect between the leadership and the people. There's zero training that exists within the whole agency. We onboard people without a game plan, without any kind of sense of mission or vision or any kind of consistency. We're going to talk about that today, how to do that, but most importantly, how to find the right people for your agency and how to keep them. So, this is the agenda. I'm going to keep it simple today, and I use a lot of big fonts so you guys can all read that, right? Who are we looking for? How do we look for them? And most importantly, how do we keep them? Tim and I have very expensive questions that we like to ask. They're coming up in a second, but one of the questions that I have is, what does your agency do best? And if you can't answer that question right now, there's a problem. But if you do think you can answer that question right now, and you're going to tell me it's customer service, this is what I hear every single time I ask that question. Every time. And it's not like I think it's customer service. It's, oh, it's customer service. Proud as a peacock, they know it. It's the one thing they definitively know and they will stand behind. It's customer service. But at the end of that conversation, they end up crying on my shoulder, saying, oh, my people. So let me ask you $1 million question like Tim did. Do you believe you have the right people in your agency today? Now, these two questions I'm about to ask you, these are the questions I want you to write down and take back to your team back at the agency. So when you have a people problem or you have a people situation, this is how you define if you have the right people in your agency. Number one, do you believe right now you have the right people in your agency? This next question is how you actually get the answer. The billion-dollar question is, given the chance, would you hire them again? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. If you're debating around one producer or one CSR or somebody in the agency that's performing or not performing, yeah, they may be related, your friend, maybe they're there for 400 years working with you. It doesn't matter, right? We are here to grow our agency, make money, and be successful, period. You have an army behind you that is really paid to help you get there. We need to ask the tough questions in order to get the right answers. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It is probably the touchiest subject I've ever had a conversation with any agency about. Most agency principals are overly protective of their people. Their allegiance to their people is overwhelming. Their loyalty to their people, it's inspiring. I love the passion and commitment you all have for your people. But I want to encourage you to have the passion and commitment for the right people in your agency that are on board with you and helping you achieve your mission. Does that make sense? It's very important, and this is something that we all have to dig deep and ask about. So I'm going to talk about exactly who is it that you guys are looking for. You may not even be looking for anybody right now, but you may be reevaluating your existing agency. So if there is an opportunity to improve, to replace, or to just hire somebody and add. I know a few people in this place. Brooks Allen is here. He's gone through a massive transition. Rich Fawn is here. He's gone through massive transition with people. And those are great resources to talk to about how to go through this. But I'll tell you what. I want to underline everything I'm about to say right now. This is difficult. This is challenging. And it takes time. The beautiful thing is that you get to have a choice in this. Because all that revolves around is what? Attitude. That's it. You can have a positive attitude or you can have a negative attitude. Unless I checked, nothing positive came out of anything negative. Has anybody else seen that happen? I haven't. Ever. Right? Most agencies that I've been in, and I'm going to hit a little hard because we're friends and we're going to have fun. I've been in a lot of agencies. Our trainers that are here today have been in a lot of agencies. We're talking over 1,000 over the last 5 years. And we have seen it all. And we share stories and we talk about this all the time. And my favorite part is when we go into an agency and we're pumped and psyched and we've got the solution, we've got the answer to all their problems. We're so excited to share it with them so they can experience the same success we want for them. And we get in a room, and I could be up there talking like this, and all I see is this is it. Just arms folded, just like you, Daniel. You're looking great. Yeah, thank you. This is really helping me out right now. Yeah. Resistance to change. There's nothing I can say or do that's going to change their mind. That's it. They've already made up their mind that they're not going to change their mind. Not even because the solution is great. Out of principle, who is this guy coming into our agency after we've been doing something for 30 years telling us we've got to change the way we've been doing something? One of the first things Tim said was the world has changed. Right? The world around us has changed completely. The question is, are we going to change to continue our success with the people who have changed in it? I hope the answer is yes. Tiggers don't like working with Eeyores. If you've got a pen of Eeyores and you stick a Tigger in the middle of that, do you think the conversion rate's going to be high or low? Probably not good, right? Eeyores will stick together. They will keep that negativity. That Tigger will last just a couple minutes in that joint and bounce. Literally. If you have an agency full of Tiggers and you got one or two Eeyores in there, the conversion opportunity is much higher to turn that negativity into positivity because it's all about the masses, right? If you're sitting there today thinking, holy cow, I've got an agency full of Eeyores. Got some work to do, right? But we never make irrational decisions. We want to give them an opportunity to succeed, not to fail. You bring the good news to them, you encourage them, and this is where leadership comes into play. You've got to have a pulse on your agency at all times. You have to understand who's the players on your team. You have to understand what motivates these folks. You have to understand why are they miserable or what's stopping them from changing. Don't they want to improve their own life? You get up every day, hopefully shower, you get dressed, you drive in traffic, you spend all this time to get to work 8 to 10 hours. What are you doing there? Just passing time? Answering the phone when you ask them to do something? I'm too busy. How many hear that all the time? I'm just too busy. My favorite answer to that is, busy doing what? Let's sit down. Tell me it all. Write it all out. I want to hear it. I want to see it. Tell me. Show me. Too busy doing what? right? Because that is one of the biggest things that gets in the way of execution is fear. Number one is fear. They're afraid of change. They're afraid of changing the way they've done their job. They're afraid of accountability. They're afraid of all of this stuff that you're trying to now implement within the agency. We need to be open to that so we can make sure we're hiring the right people. Here are two major qualities of a Tigger. And this is, by the way, this is how we hire at Astonish. This is pretty difficult, right? Two major components that we look for in human beings that apply at our company. Number one is attitude. You've got to wake up psyched every day. In general, not just to go to work, in general. You've got to appreciate the opportunities that are already there before you. Having a positive attitude, guys, I can't train somebody on. I can hope to encourage and inspire, but that comes with the package. Be on the lookout for a positive attitude. Here's the second one, teachability. If they are not willing to grow and learn and change and improve, that's a problem. Because we're talking a lot about change right now. And this change is positive change for your agency to better communicate to the modern consumer, to take advantage of all your sales opportunities that exist within your own book, making sure we change your talk tracks when talking to a customer service call versus a sales call. All of this stuff. Most of the change, it takes place here. They don't have to go get certified and do all this kind of, it's here. This is a hard issue we're talking about. So we look at this first, because I can train them on the rest. I can train them on how to use the VPC, right? We sent a monkey in space. I mean, we can train somebody to do something at your agency, right? Let's look at the EOR. Two simple criteria. That guy does not look psyched, first of all, right? That dude is bent. Negative attitude, it is always raining, the sky's always falling, could have been better. Everything is horrible, never good enough, cannot, for the life of them, see any kind of positivity in anything. And the worst part is number two, is that when policies change, anything in your agency, formats or platforms or process or workflow or anything changes, the first response is, ugh. And now it's just, they just go back to their desk and then everything is, they type harder and louder, you know? They just hate life and they want you to know that they're pissed. And it's like, oh yeah, that's good. That's real good for the team. But if they resist change, you have no shot at changing the way your agency operates. You have none. Because I don't know any owner, some owners think they do everything in their company. Some owners do too much in their company, but I'll tell you what, owners who are effective leaders that delegate to people to do stuff, if their people aren't even doing what they're asking or telling them to do, there's a problem, right? We as leaders need to wake up and literally understand that our people are helping me drive this business. People are everything. You cannot continue to blame everything outside of it. I have had people blame the economy, Obamacare, the vice president, the secretary of state, their local, their this, their that, their friendships, their relationships, their family, their everything for their lack of success. Everything except for their people, because their people are little angels. But yet, when I walk on the floor and I start looking at it and listening and watching their workflow, nobody's rounding out, nobody's asking for an email address, nobody is selling anything. They're just answering the phone, being order takers, doing my job. When somebody calls in for a deck page and somebody says, certainly, I'll get that right out to you. And they hang up the phone and they go, I give the best customer service. I'm awesome. If they don't understand that I'm trying to shop you around because I want to leave you, that's a problem. We're not training these people to identify areas of growth, areas of opportunities, or areas of loss. Because it's all sales. It's a find, sell, keep system, guys. We as leaders have to identify, do we have the right people that are doing the right things? Story time. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a magnet for horrific customer service. Horrific. At times, Kelly Donahue, if we were to go out to eat, she would refuse just because she knows it's going to be horrible. It's that bad. Am I right, guys? Yes, anybody that knows me. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. The service is, I can't even call it service. Today more than ever, I want you guys to open your minds to understand you have the opportunity to shine with true customer service in a world of darkness right now. How many of you guys truly believe when you go out do you think customer service is on the rise or spiraling down to the depths of hell right now? I hope you agree on the latter, because it's all I see, okay? Everywhere I go. Now I'm going to use a couple examples that we can apply to anything. So I'm at Subway. And every time I want to go to Subway, it doesn't matter which Subway I choose, the one near where my work or my house, I'm like the CSR Eeyore. I'm just like, ugh, here I go. And I know what I'm going, I just know what's going to happen. If you go to Subway at all, you get hip to the way they ask the questions for how they want the sandwich artist to prepare your meal, right? They will always start with the bread, the size, the sandwich, the cheese, then do you want that toasted? Yeah? Always the host question. So I thought, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to button hook them. I'm going to go in, I'm going to give them my whole order up front. Yeah. Because I don't need them to ask me all the questions. I know the questions. I'm just going to order my sandwich. So I chose my sandwich, the size, the meat. I chose the cheese, and I said, I'd like that toasted, please. And she goes, okay. She turns around, gets the bread, cuts it open, looks at me and goes, what kind of sandwich would you like? And I'm looking at the other customers in line. Okay, I will do this again. So I tell her this, that. She starts to prepare, and she goes, what kind of cheese? I've already given the cheese twice now. Okay? And then at the end of the prep, she goes, do you want that toasted? And I was like, are we in the same room right now? Are we speaking the same language? So that happens. No joke. The next guy next to me orders a sandwich so simple. He literally looks at her and goes, 6-inch turkey on wheat. Without the T on wheat being finished, she says, what kind of bread? And he looks at me and I said, I got nothing. I got nothing. I can't even come up with an excuse on that one. The point is this. The sandwich artist working does not want to listen to any customers anymore. This is everywhere. They don't listen. They order take. And what happens is they get in this routine or this rut of just, there's a progression in an order of my questioning that I need to go through, so I'm in control. Everything else, bing, I'm looking like this, and I'm only going to listen to the things that I want because I run the show. If I walk in and I give them my whole order all at once, they don't know what to do. They have no idea. I just threw them a curveball. So they just resort back to starting over again. It's unbelievable. I dare you to try this at any Subway you go to, honestly. Here's my point. That sandwich artist will go home, they're pissed off at the world, they hate their customers, and by the way, I didn't even get to say the best part. When I walked up to the counter, nobody says hello, welcome to Subway, or anything anymore. The phrase, I don't know if they're trained to say this or not, but the phrase is, do you know what you want? Do ya know what you want? That's how she addressed me as a customer. It's insulting, it's embarrassing, and I feel as though the true customer service is dead right now. So when you get good customer service, it stands out. People have a heart or a desire to work with people who are psyched and pumped and are passionate and committed about their product or service. Would you agree with that? Would you agree people can hear it over the phone when you're smiling or you're not smiling? Yes. This is simple stuff, guys, that can help turn your agency around with the existing folks you have today. I'd call that plan A, okay? We help them understand what they are here to do. I like to call people rock stars, and I look for them everywhere. Most folks in this industry I have found, they think that they need somebody from the industry. Yes, there's insurance knowledge. Yes, it's probably easier. Yes, it's more convenient, and probably you all know people. But I'm telling you this, all you're doing is inheriting some other agency's problem. You will spend more time unwinding the pollution in that person to gain adoption in your culture than you would if you hired somebody outside the industry on attitude and teachability and you invested in them to turn your team into a power team. This is not an overnight strategy. This is a tough thing. But let me just share this with you. Look for them everywhere. You guys don't just live at your agency, you have lives outside your agency. Don't look at Subway. Abandon that track and look elsewhere. But what I encourage you guys to do is look at the sales and service-centric industries. These are sales-driven individuals. These are folks that understand how to sell, they know how to build relationships, they know how to build pipelines, they know how to close, and most of them have great attitudes. Because if it's on them to perform, they're going to perform. Here are some examples. These are some industries that I have found that I find great sales and service in. Hotel, food, not Subway, real estate, retail. Go where it's a sales-driven mentality, because so many times I hear, man, I know my CSRs are supposed to be teeing up sales, or they can be sales, blah, 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 blah. It's like turning a cat into a dog. It's not going to happen. If you wanted a dog, you gotta buy a dog. But don't expect the dog out of a cat. So what we want to do is make sure that we're investing our time in looking for the right people in the right places. I've literally, again, one of the nightmare dinners that we were out with a team, Kelly and I were out, I offered our waitress a job. Because I know she didn't want that full-time for the rest of her life. I gave her an opportunity, at least an interview, because I saw that this person was an A player. They were a rock star. Their service was impeccable. Their rapport and their personality was awesome. Why not? These folks don't want to live in these types of jobs forever. It's right where they are for now. But if you see something, provide them with an opportunity, because that helps you. But I encourage you guys to reach outside of your agency and walk around with your eyes and ears open. Get references from folks that are around you as well. Have fun with it. But you want to get people who are going to help make your agency more successful. Now we're going to get to the how do we do this. A lot of times people think, oh, man, I gotta call the paper. I got to put an ad out. I got to get on the monsters. I got to do all this stuff. And there are a lot more opportunities, technology-wise, everything-wise, today more than ever. Would you admit that today versus 10 or 15 years ago, there's so much more control over your business than ever? I would definitely say that. You got to do this a little bit more, right? But the cost isn't there. Most of the social media and all of this stuff, it's free. It just takes time. And it takes a plan. So here's one thing that I can't stress enough, and I see this all the time. We must first clarify and define what your needs are. I have seen so many folks that call their producers, yet they haven't produced anything. Ever. How'd you get that role? How did you get in there? Because what's happening is every time I go to an agency and I ask them, because there's disarray within their agency group or their people and process, first question I ask is, do you guys have defined job descriptions? Does everybody know what they're here to do? Guess what the answer is? No. We just hired a CSR to run service needs. Okay, what is that? Here's my point. We need to create a detailed job description in advance. This is the key to take away here. The employee does not define the role. The role defines the employee. What do I mean by that? So many times I've seen a friend of a friend of a friend get a job because they're a friend of a friend of a friend. But the role itself, what's needed for them to do every single day, is absent. Yet the expectations of the owner or the team, is why we hired that person, is not being fulfilled. We need to define the role first. Here's an example. For instance, if you're looking for a new CSR, customer service rep, or anybody, definitely have a defined job description that illustrates their job function, the tools they are to use on a daily basis, performance evaluation, productivity reports, etc., expectations, the number of clients they're supposed to hit and touch. How about sales-related functions? These folks touch your clients more than anybody else. Tee-ups, rounding out, all of this stuff. But if it's not defined, they will never go back to you and say, hey, nobody told me to do it. It's not my job description. Oh, wait, I don't have a job description. But the second you start to have defined job descriptions, now you can put in place performance evaluations at the end of your year. You can hold your people accountable. And now everybody is showing up for a purpose and a mission. This is a clearly defined process that will help improve hiring and keeping. How do we attract the right people? So many times we've got the syndrome of, oh, well, only 2 people applied. I got to make my choice out of one of them. They got a 50% shot. I'll just take the less bad. If you're not an HR person, if you don't interview people often, you got to make that a part of your culture. And again, it takes time. It's not something that is just somebody's job function, but it's got to be a part of your culture where you're embracing that opportunity. I love it when people say, well, insurance isn't sexy. It's not attractive. You know, people don't really want to sell insurance, or if they're doing something else, how are we going to get them? I love to get to the heart of what insurance really is. You guys change lives. You guys are all superheroes. You protect people, right? You guys have the opportunity to provide safety for everybody. Really, before it's insurance, you're doing sales and marketing. Would you agree with that? You all agree with that, except right now, most of you don't even have a 30-second elevator speech that you could tell me why I should buy insurance from you over somebody else that's local, or more importantly, over a carrier. How do we do that? We need to make sure that we understand that it's a sales and marketing-driven industry. We also need to highlight the benefits financially. There's a huge opportunity to make some money in this industry. No doubt. If you're a people person, you like shaking hands and kissing babies, and you have a good rapport and you got a good pipeline, go for it. This is a great industry to get involved with. Promote that. We also want to promote the fact that you guys do have cutting-edge digital marketing and technology, right? Most insurance agencies that are not part of Astonish don't have the type of insurance digital marketing strategies that you guys have to communicate to your customers, to promote and sell your agency. Promote that. People, especially younger folks that are not in the industry, want to know they're working for a tech-savvy company. That's a benefit. If you guys have a quirky culture, something fun, you blast music all day. We had a guy that had like one of the world's largest Pez dispenser collections. Awesome, you know? Promote it. So we put it on the website and we put it on the social, and it was fun, right? Wayne, you've got the cow, right? Promote it. You've got a culture that is different. Everybody, you've heard people in your life tell you, well, hey, if it ain't working, you're just going to have to try a little harder, right? The time for trying harder is dead, honestly, because all you're doing is wasting more time and money. I'm telling you to try different. Now is the time to try different. If it isn't working, the beautiful part about technology and everything that we have going on today is that we can experiment like scientists with our marketing strategy. We have reports, we've got data, we've got opportunities, we've got time, we've got automation. Do it. Use it. Have fun with it. Be creative and have fun. Now, when we're looking for the right person, when was the last time somebody put an ad in the paper or was looking for adding to their agency? Anybody recently been doing that? We've got a couple hands, a couple, 2, 3. Nice. Okay. Most times people resort right to the traditional marketing, right? They'll go right to the paper, they'll right to this, right to that. I need to tell you what Tim was talking about with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is incredible. It's an incredible business networking tool. It's also free. You can pay a little more for it to get some hiring out of it. But we need to fish where the fish are, right? If we're looking for a young Tigger that may not have been in the industry before but is interested in all the stuff on the last slide, and we want to make ourselves approachable and attractive, we want to fish where the fish are. They are hanging out on Facebook and LinkedIn. We have to have a strategy which we can help you with to help promote and find the right person for your agency. We can also instill a referral program within your agency. Obviously, you want to get referrals from Tiggers, right? You don't want to get referrals from Eeyores. That would kind of backfire. But we want to leverage the fact that we are a team. If anybody knows about a rock star or has a rock star in the bullpen, let's bring them out. Let's bring them here, and let's show them what this is all about. How many people have a relationship with their local universities and colleges right now? Great. That is awesome. That is like Pipeline 101. I have personally been a part of about 8 to 9 universities and colleges around the tri-state area, Rhode Island, Mass, and Connecticut. I've been on campus. I've presented in front of their graduating class. I've been the one with the booth with kids coming up to me, selling Astonish and making sure that everything is just, it's passionate and it's a commitment towards our message. But what I've also done is I've struck up a relationship with all the career services folks over there. So they know what our company is about. So when they see rock stars that are graduating and wanting to excel in these areas, sales, marketing, etc., they serve them up to us. Takes a little bit of work up front, but I'm telling you, you create a pipeline of people bringing quality employees to you. Take advantage of that. Reach out to these folks. They want to be the best career services in their state, obviously. They want to have that percentage rate of how many college kids graduate and get jobs. That's pretty important to them. You can be a part of that. Join the Chamber of Commerce and other small business groups. Interview often. I was talking to somebody last night about this. If you think you're in an Eeyore situation, the best thing I've seen somebody do is just start interviewing. Don't tell anybody anything. If somebody's waiting out front and they say, yes, I'm here for the new CSR position, and everybody starts looking around being like, CSR position, what are you talking about, CSR position? And then if I was the owner, I shake their hand, great to meet you, so nice. Come on back, let's have a chat. And they see me walk back with this person, and I spend an hour in my office with this person, and then I walk them back out, and I said, it was great to meet you. Oh, I look forward to the opportunities to blah, 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 blah. And now, I will tell you what, everybody's going to perk right up. They're going to take notice of that. But I'll tell you this, it's not a threat. It's you preparing to make necessary changes. That's all it is. We want to give your agency, Eeyores, an opportunity to convert to Tiggerism. That's a new word. Tiggerism. But my point is this, no matter where you are on the internet, no matter where you are shopping or eating, no matter where you are, always be on the lookout because that person could be anywhere. Could be anywhere, could be right under your nose the whole time. Take advantage of it. Ask the questions. What's the worst that can happen? They say no? How do we keep these folks? Because this is the most important thing. Once when you get them, you don't want to lose them, right? We got to have a plan, guys. We must have a plan. We cannot hire and hope. That's not a strategy. People don't plan to fail. People fail to plan. This is the crux of everything. If you've got a great idea and you've got this great strategy and you've got this dream of execution, but then you have it, and now it's like Gollum, you know, my precious. You got the ring in your hand, but now what are you going to do with it? It can corrupt and pollute you, or you can take advantage of it and use it for good. Use your powers for good, not for evil. Once when you have the Tigger in place, you must identify what motivates. You've got to create a positive Tigger culture around the people. Recognize, reward, and respect everyone in your agency. That alone is one of the top reasons why people may not enjoy working at your agency, because of the leadership, the management, and the culture. This is stuff that's easy to mend. Give back, invest into your people as they are investing into the company. Empower your people to make decisions. This is another key one. If you've got a Tigger that's a leader, don't be afraid to delegate. Empower that person. Because that person is going to have a sense of accomplishment and responsibility that they're not going to get anywhere else. It's a proud moment for somebody to have a high place in your agency that is recognized. I mean, that's huge. Most people, when they hire an agent, they don't have a roadmap or a plan for them. And most people get in a rut. And they've done the same job for the last 40 years, and they don't expect anything different. Maybe they find comfort in that. But if we have a roadmap for these folks when they come on board, whether it's managing a smaller team and then getting into the head of this, and then this and that, and then your head honcho, and before you know it, it's that. We need to communicate this to our folks to make sure that they are on the same page, because people want to grow. People don't want to stay stagnant all day. They want to have a plan. Next steps. This is stuff I want you guys to do. I want you guys, if you don't have one already, you should take the time to create a mission and a vision for your agency. And I encourage you guys to have your people be a part of that process, because that equals buy-in. That's one of the biggest hindrances of people not doing anything, is because they're not bought in. And when an Astonish system comes into your agency, and people like me and Tim and everybody else are screaming at them and getting them psyched and pumped, that's when the arms start folding. They're not bought in. It's part of your job as leaders of your agency to help them buy in. And that starts with culture, information, education, and motivation. We need to provide detailed job descriptions. This is a great exercise for everybody. Write down what you need them to be doing. Then you communicate that to them, and you share it with them. And then they'll start doing it. It's amazing. Establish a consistent onboarding process. What I mean by that is when you get like 2 new Tiggers coming on in, we have to have a plan to onboard them appropriately. Give them the lay of the land. Share with them the workflow and processes. Make sure that they understand what their role in the agency is. Share with them their expectations. Train them on stuff like the tool, how to sell, how to convert a service call into a sales opportunity, how to round out, how to actually handle objections. We have objection killers. There's only a handful in this industry. We have them written out. They're on our help desk. Our trainers have them. We need to make sure that your people have that. So whenever anybody calls in and they're roadblocked with an objection, they know what to do and say. Consistency is the key. If everyone in your agency was doing, saying the right things every day, every call, every time, I'm sure it would make you guys feel a lot more comfortable being here and wondering what the heck is going on back at base camp, right? I had a dude last year. There was 2 owners, and I met him at the CEO training, and I remembered one from the summit, and I went to the other one, and I said, "Where were you? Why didn't you come to the summit?" And he bows his head and he goes, "Yeah, I couldn't leave my agency alone." And I what? You couldn't do what now? You couldn't leave the kids alone? He literally sacrificed coming to the E-Agent Summit because he didn't trust his people with any leadership presence back at the office. So they had to make a decision. I think it was like potato, whatever. 1-1, rocks, paper, scissors. I don't know where the potato comes from. Hot potato? Maybe? I don't know. This is vodka. But the point is, you shouldn't live that way. You're never going to get a vacation. You're never going to guys, these people, it's just like Bill Belichick and the Patriots, right? Any coach of a sports team, anybody, they don't just hire talented people that are on the lookout, these scouts, and then they get in a room like this and say, "Okay, guys, we're going to go play football tomorrow." You guys decide who the quarterback is. You guys, somebody who can catch a ball? Okay, you guys be on the lookout, because the guy who's going to make the quarterback, he's going to throw some at you, and you just catch them, and we're going to go win. That's, you got all your, pumped, right? You got the team of Tiggers, you've got to lead them. You have to make sure you train them consistently, because that's how you're going to get a winning team. I love M&Ms. Anybody else here love M&Ms? I love M&Ms. Do you guys remember, as children, that you truly believed that they tasted different? Remember that? Green was mine. Green was the best. I loved green. And what I did was, every time I had a pack of M&Ms, I would sort the green out to the side. Save them for last. But if my friends came around and they wanted some M&Ms, I'd give them the browns and the oranges. Ugh. Those are nasty, right? You're not touching my green M&Ms, okay? As adults, we know better. Every one of these M&Ms are just coated with a candy shell. It's just color. But if you were to have one after another, and not even look at the color, they all taste exactly the same, right? Right now, my goal for you is to turn your agency into a bowl of M&Ms. You have different people in your agency. They all look differently. But I'm telling you right now, when you start to get the consistency of this divine, delicious little treat, and you convert that into the way you operate your business, where everyone is saying and doing the right thing every day, every call, all the time, you've just created a bowl of M&Ms. And this is my wish for you guys. So the last thing I ask of you is this. Write this question down. You don't need to answer it right now. But this is ultimately the question. What or who is preventing your agency from growing? Once you answer that question, the next thing is to execute on it. And we can help you with that. And I thank you very much.